We've never had a volunteer yet to be the person to go around and take the samples, basically.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where the director, if you know that your person has dogs in their home, here's something you have to do if you fail to do this.
Okay, but I'm saying then, let's say their dog, they don't pick up after their dog, so you need somebody. So now you just got a pile there.
You pick up,
got DNA.
the pile gets sent in, and.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
We haven't found well, it didn't get that far yet, but so far in discussion, it was like, well, who's gonna volunteer to be the pooper scooper?
You'd be surprised when people are walking along and getting tired of it, they'll just about anything to get rid of the problem.
Yet. No, listen, just to make one thing on the clear on the finding committee and all. So we do have already the in-house process, if you want to call it that, with the notifying CNS. They do their first letter, then they do the second, then it goes to an attorney, without the finding committee. But you were asking why a finding committee. So we have that first process to fall back on already. It was suggested, though, by several people, we need a finding committee. So, a finding committee. So we're just in the process, really, of okay, let's see what's involved with the finding committee. There's no finding committee established yet. Janet is just trying to get that rolling. And if it rolls far enough, we may have a committee, or we may
not be able to. I don't know.
It's a little tricky because it's pretty complicated.
I think the whole point of the finding committee was because there was no enforcement. We can have all kinds of letters and laws and this and that, but the problem was, where's the enforcement?
Right.
The whole finding committee came up because that was going to be the enforcement.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's okay. I mean, we're in that now. We're looking at a finding committee. Now, of course, it's still, even if there's a committee finding, you still got to have people to,
Well, you've got to have people who can provide documentation
so
for
we'll
what
see
they've
how it
seen.
goes. I mean, we're just.
Without documentation, you've got nothing. It's just a accusation.
I think that people understand that hey, if you've seen this, like the glass out on take pictures of it. You have to have documentation, because if it gets to CNS needs to be able to provide picture evidence that this is you who did this. So that way the person can do that. So as long as the residents understand, if you're going to accuse somebody of doing something, you have to have photographic evidence that it happened, or it did not happen, period.
Yeah.
You got it.
And then they give you
want to be on the committee?
the steps.
I don't see a problem over there.
You can't, he's a board member. Board members cannot be on the hearing committee or anybody related to the board.
Which is too bad, because I would step up to be on the finding committee.
Here's the question, what happens if someone is using...
I've managed fines at my association for 3 years.
She's buying
So,
6214.
So you just said you'd volunteer?
I can't, because she's my mother.
Yeah.
Because your
even
rules
a
say,
relative.
You can't be
your
related.
rules
can't be
say that it
related.
can't be a
She's buying
relative.
6214.
Is that a state thing, or is that just
Probably it's a statute.
state of Florida, I tell you?
Finally got somebody great.
figure it out.
Can't use them anyway.
I know what I'm
Sorry,
doing,
go ahead.
so.
If someone is using a pool in a cluster or the community pool, is there a time limit that at night that dusk? So it's dusk. Do you call the police, or what do you do?
Yeah, what is the protocol for that?
I'm really serious on this one.
We're talking about midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning.
In this pool.
We have photographs of this one.
I think in something like that, you probably could call the
Call the
police,
police.
but getting them out here on a pool thing might be another story.
That'd be hard.
But you probably could.
Can't you just say disturbing the peace?
Think you
Call
could
them
do
out
whatever
for
you
So
want.
disturbing
they're very quiet.
Well, you don't have to tell the cop that.
Yeah.
No, you're right, I don't.
Call the cop and say they're disturbing the peace.
I guess you could do that.
But I'm not sure it's the same people.
Because that's a county, again.
That's a
county
safety
thing.
thing. That's a safety issue.
Yeah, I
You
know.
can't have people out there at night when you
No.
can't see. That's a safety
True.
thing.
Is there a way that the lock, like you have the code and the code will not work after a certain hour?
Not for this pool, but not for your cluster pool.
Well, I mean, the cluster pool is easy to manage, because if you see your neighbors out there, you can go scream at them. But in this one, is there a lock that basically times out at such and such time and you cannot get in there?
Yeah, that's me.
Because-
I'm the lock.
Yeah, he's
Well-
the lock.
Is this the one that
No.
you,
That's
is
the
this the one
paddle
they're in?
They're
For
in
this pool.
No, in cluster
They're
one's
in-
pool, or
no,
this?
they're in the big pool.
They're here at the
So there's no
clubhouse.
lock there's no programmable lock that does
There's
not
a
allow entry.
programmable lock on, what do you call it, a keypad that everybody has.
Yep.
And by now, the teenagers have and their
Yep.
friends have. So that's why we got a chain and a padlock on it. Around dusk, I come up and put that up. Now, I don't always get, sometimes I'm a little late. I've only been up twice so far where there were people in here when I came up late.
That's not bad.
Not too bad. It was kids and they left, no problem. But the chain does keep them out because the keypad, everybody and his brother's got it now, so. You know what I
wonder if
mean? But
need
they
to
can't
just
get past
chain up
the
our
chain, really.
fenced area.
What's that?
I wonder if I just need to chain up our fenced area, because
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know.
I
I
guess
don't know
you
what
could
to
do
do.
that. I think
if
you
I
could
could
do that.
actually put a chain around that gate, those two gates, so they cannot gain access.
I guess you could do that if you want.
It would
to.
make me
I don't
nuts
think
if
there's any
somebody
rule
drove in that
against
pool,
it.
and they're
Oh.
always,
You couldn't do it on your gates, I don't think, your two end gates, I don't think.
No, they
because
have to,
that-
from the inside, they have to be able to get out.
Yeah, but
Right.
she's
That's the
talking
fire
about the
code.
pool gates.
I'm talking about the pool gates, with the white fence around the pool.
All around the pool.
If I could lock those two,
It'd help
that
if
would
they'd
keep
have
them
to
out
at
of the
least
pool.
climb the
I don't
pool.
think they'd I think they'd kill themselves.
They'd
trying
probably
to
kill
climb it.
themselves because
Yeah,
they're.
Because they're
They tear down the
inebriated in a big way.
Try it, Nancy, I don't see a problem, I mean,
I
it's
mean,
worth
I
a
didn't
shot.
know that.
I don't think there's
I
any
don't
rule
think it's
against
a good
it.
idea. I will try that.
All right, let's see,
I'm not in the
let's
pool.
move on.
All right.
Bill's gotta go here pretty soon.
Go ahead and second.
Let's do the,
Vehicle and parking
well,
procedure?
let's go to, there's not enough people here, I don't think. Now, it's another suggestion, now that we're back in post-COVID, more or less, about a welcoming committee, which is a pretty good idea. And one thing that would help is that, in addition, now that CNS has given out the rules to a new applicant, or at the very least, we'll be giving out this Cliff Notes version of the rules, so that before a person moves in, they can see what the rule is, not after. But a welcoming committee also could help in that too, when they go and talk to the person and all that. So it's not a bad idea, but I don't know if, there's enough people to say, yeah, that's cool, let's do that too, or set
We
up a
have
committee.
somebody
You
in
need
our cluster
volunteers
that's
again.
volunteered to do that already for us.
What's that? Somebody
She's
did?
volunteered, yeah, Lois Lee has volunteered to do that for us, and she'll go over the bylaws and the rules and regs with them, and tell them about the potlucks that they have here every now and again.
I don't know if you need
different-
even a committee,
get-
maybe you just
Just
need
one
one
per
person.
per cluster maybe, or?
And that's, she just volunteered to do it for our cluster, and, I think it's a wonderful idea, because maybe we could avert some of these issues that we're having now with certain folks, by
Sometimes people
just
just don't know the
clarifying.
rules.
They don't, and just
Yeah.
by clarifying some of the things that,
Or if they've got questions, who to
Yeah.
contact, and then also if you could
Yeah.
get their email and phone number, so if we need to get a hold of them,
and you can
we
give
can put them on the
you
email
can give them a
list.
packet of paperwork that would outline some of
We
the
need to, yeah,
information
we
for
talked
them.
about that. So
Wouldn't
one
take
has
that
a
much.
person, right? Two has, I know
Yeah.
I have a person, so
You could
maybe we
easily do
can
it.
do it that way.
Yeah, just have one person,
Try to get
I
a
mean, you
volunteer.
guys get the applications anyway, so you know
Okay.
when a new person is coming.
I would do that for cluster three.
Charlie,
You
what's
would?
up?
That would be wonderful.
That's you, Charlie? Oh, did we lose you? You there? Uh-oh. What's up? Are we there? Oh, yeah, we can now. I think we lost you for a minute. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Talking about the welcoming committee. So,
Thanks.
I think it's a great idea.
anybody think it's not a good idea? It's a good idea, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to do it.
Oh, no. Yeah, but we're just saying somebody might.
Somebody may volunteer. a nice way for them to meet someone.
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
and get to know some of the
Yeah.
neighbors, you know, so
Yeah.
they don't feel like a total alien coming into an association, you know?
Well, we can keep put it
moving
up
forward
and
with
see,
that.
maybe next week there'll
Let
be
them know when the
somebody.
board meetings are and, you know, stuff like that.
You know,
Just general
a lot of different things
information,
that go on around here.
right?
You have to tell them
Yeah.
you're not allowed to smoke pot or.
All right, so I'll keep it in the loop.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
it's a
there'll
good
be more
idea.
people here next month we can talk about it.
In July?
Okay, last thing on the notes here is parking update.
Yeah.
So, just to kind of recap a little bit, so this thing started, I guess, I think this is like our fifth meeting since
January.
it started, since we really
I
decided
don't know why it's so
wanted
hard.
to
Just do it.
do something, and found out a few things we could do and a few things we couldn't do over a period of time, and finally got down to, well, we got rules here enough, let's just enforce the rules we got. So, okay, so somewhere back in there, we had a tow company come out, and he gave his little presentation, so we kind of know how it worked. And little by little, then we started the registration with the cars, you know, with the residents and the cars and the license plates. That's been going on for a couple months now. To wind down really in July 1st, couple more weeks. In fact, I'll probably put a 2-week notice. It must be like tomorrow or Saturday. Just to remind everybody, gosh, you need to put that sticker in there, you got 2 weeks to go. Well,
And then
Monday,
remind me, I'll send an email blast out to
we could do that too, yeah. Just to, because it's really important that everybody has that little
Yep.
sticker in there when this thing starts. So, part of the package, along with the stickers and signs and everything that Comto has and stuff like that, were the stencils on the
He didn't say
guest
anything
spots.
about that.
It's,
Kelvin.
Yeah, it was part of the thing, part of the, you know, it's like a package deal, I guess you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, where was I? So Monday, a gal came to start the stencils. But basically the idea of the stencils was really to, you know, we never have had enough parking spaces, guest spots, and we never will. So it's people that come like at night or something. Sometimes they can't find a spot. Ours are cluster spots taken up. You got to find another one. So part of the thing that the stencils would help was somebody trying to find a guest spot, really. Because once they're, you know, you can't, what we got now is on the wheel stops. So you gotta drive with your flashlight, oh, here's one, whatever. So anyway, Monday, the gal came out to start the stencil.
I feel
And
about
then she left. And I was able to at least speak to her. She got upset because of the way it was handled, sort of. It wasn't, and she's just there doing her thing. I called Calvin or emailed it to her to say, you know, why she left or tried,
Why she stopped.
whatever. So what we're at the point now is, so hopefully she's going to be back Monday to start again. But here's the thing. I think we can have some of the cluster, some of the property one way, some of the property another way.
EJ, my objection to that whole thing is this. Those words, guest, are gigantic. And here's what I feel like. Please, they're half the width of the parking space.
That's a regulated size, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what it is, but it's big and it's obnoxious. And the thing is that I'm challenging here is, I was on the Zoom meeting when Calvin came out to talk, and he didn't say anything about putting cluster or guest on the parking places. That was Michael's idea. Michael wanted to label the guest parking places and he wanted to label visitor parking places a certain number in each cluster. And
We didn't do that.
we didn't do that, but this is doing that. This is going against what the people, in essence, wanted in the March meeting when we got into that screaming match and it was ugly, and the whole 9 yards. This is going against that. Also the fact that Kelvin promised, in that meeting, he said, we'll have different colors for each cluster. That denotes a promise to the owners. And what it also does is it eliminates the need for the directors, who already have more than plenty to do, to have to police all of their guest spots. If I walk out there and my color is red, and I see red stickers on every one of the cars that's in my guest spots, it's like, everything is lovely today. But if I see a green one, I know dang well that green car does not belong in my parking place, and I can put a note on it and say either, move your car and don't park here again,
But they
or
just
you're
tow it.
going to get towed. And I am a firm believer in giving them a chance.
Nope,
Well,
Okay.
nope.
I
They
couldn't.
sign, they
That's
understand the
true.
rules and regs.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that
But
would be
that's-
an
that
automatic
is-
too.
that
I
is-
totally agree, I 100%
That's
agree on
my-
the color coding, but that didn't.
But they
Couldn't
have
do
the
that.
colors.
It has
He
to
He
happen,
said he has
DJ.
the colors.
He needs to
She
do it.
said.
She said he has the colors.
She's just a worker, but probably he does have colors. But
He's
here's
got
the thing.
colors.
Okay, but, man,
I'm
we're
listening.
beyond that, because we couldn't, he thought it was gonna be too complicated then with colors.
That makes no sense to me.
He thought, or not,
I'm listening.
I'm agreeing.
I'm
He's the
listening.
contact
I'm
person,
listening.
the vendor.
Wasn't complicated to me in the least bit, but
Mm-hmm.
he thought, oh, I don't know anything about clusters. My drivers don't know, I'm gonna have to use, what did he say, what's that, Google Maps to go, I'm like, what? And it got to the point where he was not gonna do anything, really. So I said, look, okay.
Then we need to find a
And
different
somebody
company.
else.
Company.
But wait, we can do that, not tomorrow.
No,
Now we already got, we've gone through this for 5 months now.
I'm aware.
Now we got the stickers in. People are
They're all
registered.
black.
People are,
Yeah.
They're all black.
the same color, of course.
And it
That's
just
okay.
makes our job more difficult.
Not okay.
Not quite so difficult as you think, because all you have to
Oh, I
do,
think so.
let's say there's a car in your
Yep. With a
spot
black
that you don't
sticker.
know whose it is.
Yeah.
You're familiar with who's supposed to be there.
Yeah,
Well,
but you
So
shouldn't
you
have
see
to
a
do
car there
that.
that's not supposed to.
here's what you need to remember, and I'm just saying this because cluster 1 has got 10 parking places across the front, which is where I live. The cars that park there are the ones I'm familiar with. They both belong to one house, okay? They both belong to one house. So, I know that car, but if there are 9 other ones out there, I don't know who those
Yes,
folks
you
are.
do.
No.
Have you gone on to
Wow.
that portal? When you register your cars for your cluster,
Yep.
you could go there and if you want,
Okay.
tag number,
Stickers.
sticker number
God.
1, 2, 3,
I-
4
Is in cluster 6.
is not your cluster.
Yep.
You don't even
Or
care
whatever
whose
it's
it
in.
is. You go click, click,
Mhm.
click, they come out. You don't have to go out there, you don't have, I mean.
You have to go out and
write
get the
anything.
number.
What's that?
You have to go out and get the number. If you go out and see a red sticker,
Yes,
It
we
doesn't
know about
belong
the
there.
stickers, okay? I couldn't agree more. I think it was my idea to start color coding.
right,
It
and
was
it
a great
should,
idea.
Here's the
But
thing.
there
we're
are,
not color coded right now.
well, we
Now,
should.
Well, then I don't think we should go forward with it until
Yeah.
we're ready to do that.
Here's the thing,
But see,
you,
you're
how much
gonna
are you
get
paying
rid of,
Comtel?
still, you're gonna get rid of the 3rd cars, the 4th cars, the people who are not residents here that just kinda slipped in.
But with these,
Those cars will be gone. So
Yeah.
we can't just say, throw out the baby with the bathwater. We gotta have what we've worked on for 5 months.
I thought the
Now,
whole point
here's
was
the
that
thing
they
about
want
the
to see if
stencil.
there's a car,
I
they
don't
have a
know
database,
if there's
they
a-
know if
I
that car
doubt
is there or not.
If there's a
So
regulation,
there's no reason
some
why, if there's a color,
rule that we
they
have
run
to
that
have
plate,
those.
they can't identify. it.
Stand-
and
I
if the
don't know that
sticker
there
is
is
this
either.
big, how's the guy in the truck gonna see it?
Probably then, if everybody, and this is what I'm asking tonight, I wish there were more than members.
I wish there were
Charlie,
too.
you still there, right? Okay. I don't think that we should have it 2 ways, you know what I mean? Have some, I would still have mine, I don't have a problem with that. In fact, it's funny, the maintenance guy, when he saw her start painting over there, he said, oh, you must be with Comto, they got, that stuff's on our, where I live. The apartment where he lives. Didn't she say you had Comto and they had the stencils and some of your other, I don't see,
I
it's not
think
a
they're
problem to
obnoxious,
me.
they're huge, and they're garish.
But here, Nancy, is this
I'm listening.
just, you're the,
You go ahead.
I
say
hate
what
to
you
think
want.
that, well, I hate to
It's the
think
cluster-
that
it's the property in
Nancy
cluster one.
doesn't want stencils.
It's not Nancy,
It's cluster one.
it's cluster one.
Okay.
I'm here to
cluster
represent
one.
cluster one members, there's 25 of us.
And there's
So
a lot of
everybody
angel
in
ones over
cluster
there.
one, you're 25 owners.
25 owners in this cluster
Said
do not
no,
want the, they don't want the guests.
Well, I guess we could
Okay.
make one an island or something and not have them there.
Here's what I'd like to propose.
Yeah.
We already have labeling on the curbs, the stops. And I realize it's black and it's hard to see. What if we repaint those so they say guest, CO1 or whatever they say today, with a glowing paint like they put on the pavement? Instead of having this big of the word guest on the pavement, well, you know what I
Like
mean.
it.
On the pavement, people will still be able to see them. The lady who was painting made no sense when I asked her to stop, because she said, we're doing this because that way, when people go to pull into a parking place, they can see that it's a guest spot. Okay, I'll give them that, they sure as heck can, with those
Different
big
space.
letters and the stencils.
Well, at night for
but-
sure.
At night for sure, but the thing is this,
It's a blank.
she was saying they can't see it if there's a car parked there. Well, if there's a car parked there, you can't park there anyway, because there's already a car there. So what the heck? That makes no sense.
Don't forget now, she's just a.
She's just a paid, I know she is. I'm understanding that. But I'm saying, rather than putting this great, big, ugly thing on there,
Well, let's-
why don't we just put a glow in the dark on the curb? Because I'll tell you right now what cluster one has decided to do. They're not gonna allow the painting on the clusters. I have looked into and almost have the order, all I gotta do is hit send, and I've got an order in for 13 signs. Each one of them says, reserved, cluster 1, 6202 through 6250, owners and guests only. And I will put those signs in the ground at every one of the 13 parking places that we have. Because that is how vehemently my people oppose
Oh, I don't
painting that guest sign there.
I don't think we have to go to.
That seems
to
extreme
some-
to me,
Yeah,
but the bottom line
I
is,
think we can work out
I
something.
think it just doesn't look good
Okay,
aesthetically
I got
to
you.
put
No,
those big
but-
things in every dang empty parking place.
The thing is, the way you have the word guest on every guest spot,
Yeah.
that just gives everybody that drives into this this condominium a place to park. And this is exactly what we voted down when Michael was suggesting that we do that. So now you've just opened it all up, everybody
No,
has
we
a black
wanted to
sticker,
open it up.
you
Actually,
can't tell
Jim-
who's who.
Actually, Jim, we wanted to open them up so that it wasn't clustered.
No, they can't be.
No, we couldn't open it up because of easements and this and that and the
Yeah.
other. Now.
But
whether
right now,
there's a
if it's-
guest or whether you got a stencil or not.
No, if
A
it
car
says-
can't park anywhere they want because.
They park in the appropriate cluster.
It'd be
where
just
they're
like it
visiting.
was before.
Well, the
It's no
guest-
different.
where this
You
says
have to just
guest-
have- in fact, have to do less work than they do now, really.
No,
But
No, I don't.
no.
it has to be on the director because we're not color coded, okay, this time. Now, a year from now, you got different,
Cluster one's
maybe you
in
can
color
get a
code.
new
We're
code.
gonna color code.
I don't know.
We're getting
Because
our
we're
own,
getting
we're
different
getting our own
stickers.
stickers.
Today,
We're getting different
today,
stickers.
tomorrow,
Yep, by the 1st of
what
July
are we
we'll have
gonna,
them.
okay, July 1st, will we have, somebody suggest, no stencils, or I think I'd still put them on
Curbs.
our parking at the common parking, over here on the Manatee exit, because they're not marked with anything.
That's fine. I
Maybe
mean,
on
unless
the
Edna doesn't wanna look at 'em.
59th, because the rules say you're supposed to park at 59th Street or
or there,
manatees.
correct?
So maybe we put them there and nowhere else, but
Yeah.
not,
And that makes good sense to me,
Yes.
because it doesn't muck up
That is
the look
common.
of this
Well,
entire
that's-
complex.
Because
It
if
is
you're
common
gonna put those
property. The
everywhere
problem
in
is-
Pebble Springs, it's gonna really look tacky.
Yeah, it
If
is.
we've got these great big huge parking signs in this whole complex, when you drive in here, it's gonna look just like a plain parking lot, and tacky, it's just ugly, just ugly.
a lot of ugly ones around that, right?
Oh my
These
goodness,
guys.
yes, and
Well,
what you
but
said,
okay, I mean,
the
I-
two on
You
this
know what's
end and
sad
on
to me,
this
though?
end, fine,
By
but
the way,
not
if you
everywhere
skip
else.
over here, You don't have to mess.
I don't have to try and chisel them off?
No,
Well, I was gonna hire a sanding
no,
company.
you don't have to, well,
Power
we'll paint
sand.
over 'em,
Oh, paint over them, that's fine.
But,
But the thing
okay.
is that, here's my concern. I've talked to a number of different real estate agents about Pebble Springs.
I have some-
Pebble Springs kinda gets a bad rep. They look at this place as kind of like a low rent complex. They look at this place as a low rent complex. See ya.
Okay.
And that there's something about this place that, oh, I know what it was. The one realtor said to me, because they don't enforce any of their rules.
Yeah.
That's why people buy here, because they can do whatever they dang well please. And that scared the tar out of
I
me.
don't know if I believe
That
that.
scared
You know what,
the
I
tar
will,
out of me.
No, the truth.
I will stand up and I will attest to this.
Yes.
Board president for 3 years. I have talked to many of my vendors who have told me that slumlords drive around
Yep.
before they buy property to determine whether or not that place enforces rules. And if they don't,
Well, they know that though.
because if you see
You can
garbage,
see it.
like sofas or whatever, and my sister put her sofa out there, we screamed at her for weeks. You see sofas, you see windows falling off, you know that you have storm doors required and there's no storm doors. Or you see the same cars in the parking that they're not supposed to be there, they know that those rules are not enforced, and they will buy those
That's what they
properties
buy.
and they will
That's true.
have a slum.
And
That
they
is
rent
a
them out,
known
and then they
issue,
get the
and
keys.
it's something that, if you ask any vendor, they will be able to say that that's a problem. We started enforcing the rules that we had, and we held those people
That's
accountable.
what we're trying to do with parking, believe it or
And
not.
so that's why
You're right.
you have to have a way of the towing system, all of it. You have to enforce rules, and you don't get to pick and choose which rules you like. You have to enforce all of them, because otherwise, this place is gonna be the ghetto of Bradenton.
And that's not what we want.
So-
We have a nice complex.
You
here.
have,
We have
you
good
have to have a
people.
finding
Great
committee, you have to go
location.
forward with this stuff.
The north side.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, this will be the south side.
you're right, you need to enforce the
Where I come
rules.
from, if you're from the north
Sometimes you
side,
have
it's
to,
like,
you can't enforce every rule, you
have-
can't do this,
You
what
pull
we're
in and
doing,
here's
to
all
every
these
rule
white-
all at once. You
Why
gotta
don't
pick
you
your
can't
back.
But you also have to
Cluster,
identify the big ones.
parking,
God, I didn't know that.
is the number one complaint here.
Yep, and that makes
Number
sense.
one, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Number two probably is the dog crap, number three is
That's
the
everywhere.
rentals, too many
Dog-
rentals and
yes.
stuff. But you
Yeah.
can't just do, I mean,
You gotta
we're just
take
a
it one
few
at a
people,
time.
you know what I mean?
You take it one at a time,
Yeah,
we're only
Yeah.
so
seven.
we're doing parking, so now we've lost everybody. I don't know really what to tell, should I?
Charlie's still there.
Yeah, but we
I
don't
think
have
we lost
quorum on the
him.
board
We don't
Now we don't
anymore.
have a quorum.
Can we table this then until the next meeting?
Yep.
I
And-
can tell them
and
to, they can
forget the
paint or not paint
painting,
anytime.
Forget the painting for the time being,
Yeah.
Can I
because,
say something again?
Sure.
please do.
I really do like your idea of doing this
Those spots.
out there, where it's
59.
for
Yes,
anybody,
yes.
and down here where it's for anybody, and eliminating everything else with those nasty big parking letters. It's ugly.
They do glow in the dark.
It
'Cause I
don't
was
matter,
out-
it's
Did
That
that
is
work?
ugly.
They kinda do glow, not real good, but they glow. So I mean,
When you
'cause I
have a
checked it
whole-
out last week when they put them down.
Shannon, when you have them everywhere, probably, right? You have the whole, does it look weird, or is it just by now they don't look weird, or how does it look in your place? Having all those. they're everywhere.
Guess.
You know, I don't,
If you had a vote or something, would you?
I don't
put it-
park on that side of the building, so I don't
They only
know,
got
cause I
Just
park on the
curious.
resident
It doesn't matter, we're not
side,
talking
so
about
if
where
it's
she
a different
lives.
area
Well,
for
see, ours
us.
are not like that, they're
But they-
everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
I'll
and-
have to go look on the other side, 'cause I don't park over there.
Okay.
That's was just curious.
But they don't have them on your side of the
All right,
road?
look, we'll table it.
No, there's
okay?
all residents where I park.
We gotta do it.
Yeah,
We-
I'm
we
gonna
got-
say table it
Table
for
it
now,
till the next-
because, you know, I understand what everybody's saying, but I'm at 59th. So now you're saying, do all of 59th. Well, geez, Pete, there's probably, what, 15 parking spots out there.
Yeah,
So
and
now you're
that's-
gonna talk about
that's
looking
big and
ugly.
obnoxious,
It's
too.
gonna look ugly over there too, because it's gonna be
But
one right after
unfortunately
another.
for you guys, Janet.
What?
Unfortunately for you guys in 5, well, there's good news, bad news.
Right,
The good news is it wouldn't change anything as far as where anybody parks. Your
Right.
fivers are still gonna park there, where else
Right.
are they gonna park? Whether
Right.
it says guest or not, so
Right.
that's the good news. The bad news, I guess you could say, is that our rules are gonna say, or they have said for years, that if you couldn't park in your cluster.
right,
In fact, they didn't even, the rules as they stand now don't even mention these out here, but
Correct.
they will.
correct,
There was 59th Street.
correct.
Yep.
And
So-
that's fine, I'm just saying, if you're gonna talk about the way it looks, you know, you're not gonna have,
think it
you know,
would-
you're not gonna have 1 or 2 or 3
No,
of
all
those
of
guests. You're gonna have 12 of
15,
them, or
yeah.
15 of them.
That's why I was
I
objecting to
mean,
10.
so it's
We've got
the
10.
same thing, I mean.
All right, we'll
Yeah, it
table
is
it, and
true.
I'll
So
tell them
it's
not
just-
to put
it's
it
the
in.
whole
Just
thing.
table it,
So we
yeah,
just don't, now we're out of people, so.
Yep.
All right.
table it.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh.
Adjourn, I'll motion.
Motion to
make-
adjourn. Charlie, you still there? He's long gone. All right, guys, thanks for you
Shame on-
guys for coming at least.